Okay, Melanie, this is a crash course on kumihimo. I do have some other videos on there how to do the lanyard. On the lanyard, you're braiding from one end to the other, and there's no hardware put on at the beginning, so I have a whole video on that one. It tells you how to cut the yarn and everything. But for a basic keychain or something she wants to dangle off of her purse, you can do an 8-cord pattern, or you can do a 16-cord pattern. The only difference here is normally the yarn is cut in the middle, and so you end up with all your cords tied together at the beginning, and you braid the rest of it. For the keychain, we're going to be putting our cords in all at once. So I have 4 colors here, and there's tons of patterns out there. You go to friendshipbracelets.net and you can use any combination of colors. So if I have 8 cords cut at 24 inches long and I put a key ring in the middle, I'm going to end up with a 16-cord pattern. So the 8-cord pattern and the 16-cord pattern, the hand motions are all the same. Okay, to set it up, you're just going to take your key ring, whatever hardware you want to put on there, doesn't matter what it is. If it's going to be a purse dangle or a key ring or zipper pull, whatever. For a zipper pull, you'd probably want to use embroidery floss instead of yarn. So you just put the key ring in the middle. Now these may get a little messed up, but we'll even it all out later. So this is just going to hang down in the middle of your loom while you're getting it all set up. So it's not real crucial how you lay your colors out. I like to kind of keep it neat in the middle if you can. So to make it easy, I'm going to do blue on the north and south. And again, there's so many pattern combinations. How you set your loom up at the beginning is what determines the pattern that's going to end up on your braid. So if you set it up like this, it's just going to be solid spirals all the way around. But on this one, I alternated the colors and I ended up with a totally different pattern. So that's stuff that she can experiment with, or both of y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and lay these out with the colors, and I'll be right back. Okay, to make it easy, I've done red across from red, green across from green, brown across from brown, and so on and so forth. So you know that they only interact with each other. Now when the key ring is hanging there, it kind of is a little wonky at the beginning. So if you do the first 2 or 3 stitches tight, then it'll work. So you can take your weight, just got some pennies in there, and you'll hang that from the key ring. Now as the project grows, you're going to, I'm just going to hang this from the key ring, but if you're doing a really long project, you're going to have to move the weight. If the weight touches the ground, then your tension's going to be off, so you have to have a weight. So I usually go by the compass. I don't worry about the numbers on the loom, so I've got north and south, east and west, and then I've got all the in-betweens in there too. If you're working with an 8-cord pattern, you're only going to have north and south and east and west. Again, the hand motions are all the same. So I'm going to start out with north and south straight across from me, and I'm going to take, and here's the chant that you have to do: left up, right down, turn. And I've got some little arrows on there, tells you to turn the loom that way. So we're going left upwards, right downwards, straight across from each other to the next empty slot. You don't want to cross them over each other. And now we turn, and we turn. I'm looking at this blue one, I'm turning to the next one is in the north position. So your compass is moving now, so it's going to be left up to that empty slot, right down, turn, left up, and sometimes you can't reach around, right down and turn. So I'm on the red now, and it's tangled under there. Left up, right down, turn. So I did the first few really tight so it would hug on to that key ring a little bit better, And if you keep your tension straight and keep the yarn tight in the slots, and also try to keep this in the middle. Her loom that she's got on hers, the hole in the middle may be a little bit bigger. This was one from China, so we'll just see how she does on that one. But again, if you're doing the 8-cord pattern, it's exactly the same. Now if you have to stop and you can't remember, like I just finished the red ones, and you have to stop and go eat lunch or whatever, you can put a pin in there to mark it. Another way to do that, which would probably be easier for Ariel, is to mark the last one she did. But if she forgets to mark it, the easiest way to tell where you left off is the ones that you did last are laying on top. So you'll have your left one laying on top here and the right one. So you know this was the last one that you just finished. So you just turn the loom and then you start on the next one. Some people just start half of it, but I think it'd be easier for Ariel to understand if she looks at this or she puts a pin in it. So if I get all mixed up here, all I have to do is just kind of study it, and I see these are laying on top. So first I put it in the north and south position straight across from me, and it gives me time to think, and then I turn to the next one. So you keep braiding until you get your key ring the length that you want to be, and usually to calculate how much length of yarn to cut in the beginning, it's about 3.5 times what you want your finished piece to be. So I usually do 2.5 to 3 inches on the key ring, and I allow for enough fringe at the bottom so that I can hang some beads or whatever to it. So it's just whatever your preference. So 3.5, 4 times the length, depending on what project that you're making. Okay, to be clear on how you calculate for the lanyard or for the key ring. The lanyard is braided from one end, so you do your 3.5 times the length that you want your lanyard to be. For instance, I needed about 3.5 yards. You'll see that on the lanyard video. So you'd have to have a single strand for every pattern cord. Like if you wanted a 16 cord pattern, you're going to have to cut 3.5 yards 16 times. But for the key ring, since we're going to be putting the key ring in the middle, you only need half the number of cords. It's really hard to explain, but you just have to pretend that where the key ring is hanging, it's cut. Just pretend like it's cut, and then so in my case I like to cut it 24 inches times 8 cords here. If I wanted, I'd cut 8 cords if I wanted a 16 cord pattern. So I only need about 12 inches on each end of the key ring. So I cut 24, and I wanted a 16 cord pattern, so I only needed 8 cords. Hope that makes sense. So it's different if you're going to be braiding from a knot or if you're going to be braiding from the fold. Okay, go ahead and just braid a few inches for the part that you want to be braided on your key ring, and then you can go and watch my finishing video that I have in the playlist for, I think I called it the So Blessed Kumihimo Workshop or something like that playlist, and I have a couple of videos in there showing how to do the lanyard and how to finish your key ring, and then you can add beads and charms at the end. And I also have another playlist just called Kumihimo, and I have some more detailed videos in there. So when you're done with the braiding, all you gotta do is remove your weight and then just pop everything off. It usually doesn't come unraveled, but if you're not going to finish it right away, you can just tie a knot in it. And I didn't go very far on this one, as you can see, because I didn't want to make a whole key ring. So you see, with the colors straight across from each other, you get this little spiral effect. And then if you just want to set this aside for a while, you can just tie a knot in it or put a clothespin or something on it until you can finish it. So go watch the finishing videos and then add your beads and charms, and you got a cute little purse charm or purse dangle.